Elvis, there are about 5 key issues under investigation. Petroleum and Minerals Revenue Assurance, that's the contract with SML.
Yeah.
The ECG contract termination, National Cathedral, ambulance procurement, and GRA tax P-fund management. These issues have been going on since January. The OSP has been, if I can put it that way, looking for Mr. Ofori-Atta since January. Will it take the physical presence of Mr. Ofori-Atta for the investigations to continue, or the OSP can employ some of these other avenues, as Mr. Ofori-Atta is requesting a virtual session to proceed?
Well, the OSP has a law. It empowers it to operate in a certain manner. If what is doing one of the ways, and now that it's no longer less than a month notice, but more than 6 months of notice, I cannot answer whether really the OSP, the man is needed. Because I have not had the opportunity to see documentation of what is being leveled against him. Because you see, the man says he's not well. He's seeking medical treatment. The person has to be alive to answer questions, right?
Yeah.
So if he's treating himself, then it means he wants to be alive before even you ask any question you can ask. As to whether his physical presence is needed, is the question everybody is asking, and it's the question I'll also be asking. The reason being that, see, all these things you have mentioned, there are state institutions that handled all these things.
Right.
Okay? From SML to GRPM and everything, it's GRA. The finance minister is just a supervisory authority. Okay? So if you need any information or documentation about everything about that, I don't see how the absence of the finance minister will prevent you from getting the needed information about these deals from the statutory public institutions that actually gave these contracts out to the various companies. So if you ask me, I am of the view that until I see something that warrants that, unless Ofori-Atta is here, it can't be answered, I will say that, in my opinion, whatever information that will be needed to establish wrongdoing or not in this case is not in Ofori-Atta's bedroom. Any documentation about all these issues are with the various state institutions involved in these deals. So if you can get the information from the various state institutions involved in this deal, then why not go to court with what you have? Because any question about SML people are there. The GRA firm account, the GRA as an institution is there. All the things you have made, their institutions, there are people you can question. There are people who work on the deals before it will be signed, before the finance will give approval. There are people who actually work on these things before minister will give authorization that let it go through. All those people, I'm sure, are still at post in various institutions. So get whatever you want. You've given them an opportunity that I think something untoward has happened. Come over, give me the information, and if you give me information contrary, then I know that there's nothing untoward. If you give me information that could not defend it, then I know what to do. You said the man is not coming. The man has, through his lawyers, have written to any information you want. Just send the information to my lawyers who provide the necessary answers. To me, at this point, I think that any information that the OSP thinks it wants, it should document it and send it to Ofori-Atta and his lawyers. If the responses come and the OSP is convinced that the responses are not good enough to absolve him, Ofori-Atta, from wrongdoing, he should proceed to court. I'm sure that when they get to the court and you present all your documents to the judge and Ofori-Atta responds, and the judge looks at the facts available, if Ofori-Atta is guilty, the judge will convict him. If Ofori-Atta is not guilty, the judge will clear him. People have been tried and convicted in absentia everywhere in the world. So I don't know what specifically is the reason the OSP is saying that without Mr. Ofori-Atta appearing physically, he cannot gather his evidence and go to court. That place beats my mind a little. Because if you really have the evidence that is needed, you go to court. A case example, Madam Sednam Temoklu. Was she not convicted in absentia?
Yeah.
Was she not out of the jurisdiction for so many months, almost over a year before the judge actually declared, delivered his judgment? Was her absence in the country, did it prevent the judge from delivering a judgment on the case? Yeah. Was she not represented by her lawyers in court? So I am finding it a bit difficult to understand the particular reason why at all cost Mr. Ofori-Atta has to be present. Unless maybe somebody wants me to believe that when Ofori-Atta comes, we are going to use crude method of torture to get information out of him. Because by law, Ofori-Atta can come and sit at OSP's office, and every question asked, he said he will not answer. By law, he is at liberty to say he won't answer any of your questions. And that if you have any case, take me to court. By law, that is his right to say whatever question you are asking me, I will not answer. Are you going to torture the answer out of him? The law gives him that right. So if he can appear in your office and says, me, I have come. You said I have come. I should come. I have come. But anything you ask me, I will answer. If you have anything, still my lawyers will answer. Will that stop OST from doing his investigation? So you see, for me, I believe strongly that all the things they are talking about are also things that have been covered by extensive documentations. Okay? So the OSP should just review the documents. If he finds certain things that should not have happened, that have happened, list and write and ask for the specific answers you are looking for from the man, and send it to him through his lawyers as he has requested. If the answers come and you are not satisfied, go to court. If the answers do not come, go to court, because that's why the court is there. Because if Ofori-Atta comes and appears before you, after that, you are not going to convict him in your office. You will still have to go to court and make your case for a judge to make a pronouncement. Just last week, the case against the nominated MC who said people took his money. Jabbing. Yeah. The court, the High Court has ruled in favor of the guy. OSP has lost the case. Look at all the discussions about it as if the man was even guilty. before court. But here we are, the court says, no, OSP, you have not presented enough convincing information to convict the man. The man is a free man. So I believe that investigations should be done and done in a manner that you can go to court and secure your conviction. In the Bank of Ghana versus the shifting switch deal, all the state institutions in Ghana did all the evidence. They can't find anything wrong. So Ghana was bound to pay $1.2 billion judgment there, because that's the worth of the contract. The international lawyers Ghana has hired in London looked at the contract. They said, if you can't find anything fraudulent about this, there's no way you are going to win this case in arbitration. And he said, your internal investigations, they have not found anything untoward. So the lawyers said they will come to Ghana and spend 2 weeks in Ghana. And they came. When they came, they didn't talk to anybody. They told the Bank of Ghana that everybody that has played a role on that contract, they should just give them their email addresses and their any footprint of them online. It was through technology, not inviting the person for any talk to technology, that they discovered that the lead person on the project was receiving payments from shifting switch. And they said, yes, you will give any argument, but in the national court, this is conflict of interest. You cannot say that you are providing service to a project you are supervising. And that was the evidence Ghana took to the international arbitration to win the case against shifting switch. They didn't talk to anybody. The world is moved from those Takashi way of doing things. There are several ways to get traces of information. The digital world, your traces can never be lost. So I believe that the things that have been listed there, the things that have been listed there, that those are the reasons why we are doing investigations. I believe that the OSP, if he sits down and really want to do his job and do it and think that there's something untoward, can find any information he's looking for without talking to Mr. Ofori-Atta. And let Ofori-Atta come and answer it in court. If you go to court and the court says, well, we need Ofori-Atta's presence, let the court issue that. But if OSP is making statements. Sometimes it looks as if the OSP does not have evidence and is now trying to fish for evidence.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is how it is, because for now you've not really given. If you say SMLD, what about the SMLD? If you say VAT refund account, what about it? All the things you have mentioned, the public has no access to any detail of what specifically has gone wrong with it.
Yeah.
SML, we know there was an investigation. And the report says, yes, they've done some work. The work they have done has increased revenue by a certain percentage, but they can't take credit for every, the total increase. A credible accounting firm has done their work and report is there as to what SML's contribution. If that report is there, if there are other, the report also mentions certain things they believe that were not done. If that's what we are going to, let the public know. But here's the case, we are in darkness. All we hear is that if we don't come, we are going to do this and do that. It makes the public looks at the OSP in a different way. And I think that office has suffered reputational damage for a long time. Created for over 8 years now. It's only recently they've won a case against some payroll fraud in the north. Aside that, the OSP in 8 years has not won any meaningful case. All the cases they've chased, they also are not. And if you know the amount of money we have sunk the OSP, if you look at the conviction that the police CID and other institutions have actually achieved within that 8 years in courts, if you compare to the OSP, you are tempted to say then the OSP is irrelevant.
Very well.
Because the outcome of what they are doing is not good. It's not showing the public that something is good.
Right.
Then Ofori-Atta, I think his lawyers and everything look at the reputational damage also to him. And this is an investment banker who owns assets in this country, including the most credible investment bank in Ghana. So I think that they should also look at the man's legacy and find out, is there a way that they can minimize the, because see, the OSP did this in January, then back and forth, he say, oh, give the man after 3 months, where the doctors will now tell us, and then maybe, and then the OSP is okay, after all the public criticism, so I've given you the time to June. So if today the man is still not here, and then the OSP say now I'm going to put the red alert back, it creates the impression that the OSP's initial assessment that Ofori-Atta might be running away from justice could have some merit. And that has a serious reputation, credibility issues for Mr. Ofori-Atta, his legacy, his family, his business. So I think that the lawyers, they have made their proposal that online. If the OSP says no, and they need to be able to, and you see, right now, it took the OSP to say that by today, the Ofori-Atta would be on red alert. Before you see some information somewhere that some sources are saying that his lawyers have said. What prevented his lawyers when they knew that the date was coming closer? What prevented them from being the first to come out to say, yes, we had said this to the OSP. Rather than a month to the event, this is the advice of doctors, so the man will not be able to show up. See, the first come effect in communication is very important. If the lawyers were the ones to come out early to say that, yes, we had this agreement with the OSP, but at this point, new medical advice indicates that he may not be able to come. Then you have already taken the lead. Then it doesn't create the impression that you're running away from justice. But then when the OSP is the first to come out to say that if you don't appear today, you will be declared as running from, then you are now reacting to it. That impression that seems to be created that the man is running from justice, the inactions of the lawyers and Ofori-Atta and the people themselves is creating a problem. And I think that at this point, the Ofori-Atta and his legacy and everything, his family should know that this is no longer just a legal issue. They need to hire somebody who understands the effects and the impact of communication, so that the person will be handling and helping them with communication about this case. Because for me, it was unfortunate that they waited till the OSP still put another, said they is reintroducing the red alert before they are communicating. If I were the one advising them, I would have, a month ahead, I would have said, let's go ahead and let the public know that the man was willing to come. After medical review, this is what the doctors have said, so you will not be able to come.
Right.
Then you
Thank you.
make the public
Elvis.
believe that you're not running away from justice.
Thank you, Elvis.